technical difficulties. Here, come on. Come here, log in. What's your phone number?
509-771-5184.
All right, I'm gonna need that code.
Is that my phone?
Yeah. Sorry, folks. We're gonna try that again in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, 50 seconds.
92-9458. Don't give this code to anyone. Oh, snap. I said it.
Yes. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go.
Oh, man.
Now here's the intro.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's happening, everybody?
Sorry about that technical difficulty.
There's always a technical difficulty. We are rookies looking to shock the world. Everyone take a deep breath. The first thing I want to talk about is shock and awe. We are bombarded with so much information right now that shock and awe, they call it shock doctrine, is what I'm told it's called. And there's so much happening. There's so many executive orders and so much media and so much stuff happening that many have reached their cognitive limits. Psychological warfare, guys.
Yeah.
Every administration has their little gimmick of psychology and how to work the masses. I mean, we're already dealing with it on one side or the other side. But right now, we are dealing with shock doctrine. We've reached our cognitive limit, information overload. I got my notes right here. The media can't keep up. They're reacting, and they're reacting so fast that when the next set of information comes out, they're like wrong, or they led you down the wrong rabbit hole, and it's confusing, and they're upset, and everyone gets upset, and more information comes out, and then this is happening. And so take a deep breath, and you need to wait 48 hours before you make a decision. Just put yourself on timeout for a little bit.
Sounds smart.
And in this, we talk about sometimes you got to wait 3 days before you talk about it. Otherwise, you look like a fool, And so sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, this is hot. Let's just wait it out, and we'll talk about it the next show. Let's wait a day to talk about it." The other thing it causes because you're so overloaded is people don't engage. They're just like, "Oh, go to sleep, overwhelmed." It's shocking. Now, different people are reacting differently. Some people are real excited about it. If you're on the Trump team, the people on the other side, yeah, there's a lot of information coming out. So they're reacting, right? You got the immigration thing coming out. You got celebrities crying and this and that happening.
Yeah.
And so far, the information we got is like a bunch of pictures of men that have been criminals and this and that, and things are, people are reacting. I get it. I get it. Um, Anyway, just want to start with that. Take a deep breath, relax. There's a ton of information out there. I'm going to throw a lot of information at you. Take a deep breath, absorb it,
Yes.
let things process. And if you have a trusted source, then let them break it down Barney style for you. You do what you do best. If you're a finance guy, you break down the money. Just you can specialize in what you're seeing rather than a lot of it. Okay, folks. Anyway, how's everybody doing?
I'm doing good. I do have some stuff to share actually. I actually this time was smart. I talked to your staff and I found out what today's specials are. 'Cause every time I ask you, like, oh, I didn't ask. So you got the hint. I got the hint, sir. And I'm doing my job as a producer, and I am gathering information. And today, a really cool little special they're having down at Rick's Clubhouse and fries for $14.99. That's a really good deal, actually. Aren't your fries fresh cut? And they're just you guys make them fresh here, right?
Yes, we put them in the fry cutter, and we cut them fresh. You got to rinse it twice with water. That's like health standards, right? You got to
Yeah.
put your chlorine water and fluoride water on it, get it clean. And then it's ready to go in the fryer.
So his answer is yes.
Yes, fresh fries,
Fresh
fresh
cut fries,
fries,
and also potato
never
soup.
frozen.
Potato soup today. If you just want a bowl of soup, I don't usually that fills me up. I don't eat much. $4.50. Come down and get a bowl of soup. And then the special, you get a half sandwich of your choice or a full grilled cheese sandwich for $9.99 with a bowl of soup.
Yeah, we man, months and months ago, Carrie was like, "Can we do a lunch special for under like, $10 range, so 9.99?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"The economy's tight, people are feeling it." And I was like, "Well, I might not make any money on it at that price, but I was like, go ahead, do it. Like let's get some people in and let's offer something affordable because
Yeah.
like everything is so crazy right now." I was like, "Well, what can it do?"
Well, it brings people in too, and also, hey, folks, when you're gonna want a beer at lunch anyway, So there's the rub.
Yeah, some people will up by whatever, but it keeps the staff busy.
Yeah,
They might get a extra dollar tip or whatever. So in the long run, I think it all works out. But
exactly. So a
but
cheap lunch under $10, half a sandwich and a cup of soup. No drinks included, but there's plenty to choose from here. Or just a bowl of soup. That's probably what I'll do after we're done here. Potato soup today.
yeah,
And I've never tried your potato soup. Is it pretty good?
yeah. They made it last week, and it looked like clam chowder. It was creamy like clam chowder, but
Nice.
it's just potatoes.
Okay.
Now they would probably be mad at me because I called it potato chowder. They're like, no, it's potato. I'm like, whatever.
What is the difference between clam chowder and corn chowder? It's just substitute corn? Is that what it is?
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, I don't study the
If I
rules of
gave an answer, I would be wrong.
I don't study the rules of soupology. So
No, no. One thing I do take pride in here at Rick's is I let the staff run a lot. Like they're picking the soups, they're working
yeah,
together to pick that stuff out. They're working with the people. And, you know, I would pick something like the zombie burger and everybody be like, ew, that's gross. That doesn't sound right. Like so
it's good for Halloween.
yeah, yeah. But it's like, let them do what they're good at. Like they came to me with let's do a $10 lunch special. And I was like, okay, let's try it. To listen to their ideas and see how it goes. Like
Yeah,
I do listen to my staff. I consider myself like, if I help out, I'm like, I could be a bar back. I can, pick up your dishes and clean up. Um, but it's like, they are way better at, customer service and they're smarter than I am. That's the truth.
it's not hard to do.
It's not, they're smarter. They see what's going on. I got my little tunnel vision going on. I'm talking to a customer, and everything else ceases to exist. I'm like, let them do what they got to do. They're way better at it than I am.
Couple other orders of business. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, follow.
Yeah,
You'll see a link on each stream of how you can support because this isn't free. And not only is it time, but the time of gathering information, the cost of the equipment, the cost of each month for the software, just to be able to present something new and different to you guys. So please, at least follow, subscribe on the Rixican Show. It's 3 words, all capital letters on the first, the Rixican Show. Each of the first letter is capital. And then lastly, shout out to Brothers Automotive. If you need auto repair done, inexpensive, cheapest in town, Brothers Automotive, 761-9744. Brothers Automotive, again, 761-9744. From brakes to struts to engine swaps, anything you're looking to do, Brothers Automotive will save you money. Again, Brothers Automotive, 761-9744. Back to you, Rick.
thank you. All right. So we're talking about shock and awe doctrine, how there's so much information coming at us. And so one of those shock and awe items is the deportation thing, the mass deportation they're saying. Now, I don't know what the numbers are going to look like, but ICE is detaining people. They did grab a veteran that I don't know the results of it, but he's like, I'm legal. I serve my country. Why am I getting
Yeah.
like you know, questioned and harassed about this stuff. So they are detaining probably more than they should, and to clear up records. And so there is a cost of doing this. And I'm sorry for the people that are on the innocent side that are getting hackled, but uh, I think we're all hackled in this life.
Are you saying,
No one gets out without being
are
hackled.
you saying heckled?
Heckled,
Oh, heckled.
heckled.
I'm
Tomato.
gonna heckle you now because you tried to heckle me.
I'm a
That sounds some sort of,
heckle.
what's going on in the studio, but we're hackling.
Someone's probably like knows the real definition of it, and
Yeah.
they're like, "I'm offended."
Is
I
heckle even a word?
probably not. I misspoke. Get used to it.
Oh,
Hackled. Um, and there's going to be other people that are, you know, have issues with that.
hackle is a word. It's erectile hairs along the back of a dog or animal that rise when it's angry or alarmed. It's called the hackle.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
we're all being hackled.
so our hairs on our back are rising up.
There's a hackle. Yeah, I'm sure lots of people have the hackle hair going on right now.
I have no hair going on right now. Yeah, I know you can
Yeah,
relate.
yeah, I feel it. The little buzz cut. Um, this also reminds me of being hackled. The Have you guys seen that video of it's a black guy got pulled over, totally like compliant,
Yes.
like he was an angel. He's like, they pull him over. He's like, I got a weapon on me. And they're like, please step out of the car. And there's like four cops or three cops. And this young cop gal is trying to remove his weapon from his holster.
I saw that. Oh my
It's on
gosh.
there tight. And somehow
Yes,
she
yes.
bumps the trigger and it goes boom.
Whoops.
Yeah. Uh, and he's totally cool. He takes it. He's like, oh, he's like, I thought I was gonna die because there's interviews afterwards.
Yeah.
And then anyway, the the pew pew lead, goes like into his leg and out the other side of his leg. And then the gal's holding it. The other police are like, put it down, put it down. And then they bring him over, put a tourniquet on his leg. And anyway, and I was thinking, you know, what are the odds of receiving harm just by being disciplined,
Compliant.
controlled, uh, because there are, you know, sheriffs, police, enforcement, ICE. You got all these things going on. You got, fish and wild game. You got all these people that are like regulating us, and so uh, we get hackled, heckled like
Heckled.
all the time
Yeah.
over minor things because uh, you know, a traffic stop, is that really like a criminal a thing? It's like uh anyway.
I'm told that traffic stops are the main reason for them. In fact, I think even the sheriff talked about it
Yeah.
when he was on the show, is to look for those that have their warrants and the other little thing. Traffic stops really help detain folks that really shouldn't be out there. And most of the time, if you're compliant, you're good. They send you on your way. But if you have a warrant, they're like, "Oh, great, we caught you."
Yeah, yeah. So but anyway, even with that, I mean, when they pull you over and do ID, but it's tough because you got, you know, these officers are trying to protect their life. At
Yeah,
the same time, you're trying to protect yours, but there's a confrontation that happens, even if it's sweet and
yeah,
innocent. License and registration, please. I mean, this is like um, Germany stuff. There's stuff you can't say. Yeah, this is schnotzy stuff, right? That you're like license and registration, pat you down to get on an airplane. All this stuff is,
yeah,
and we're used to it. That we think it's normal that you're um, questioned like that all the time. But these interactions, even if they're safe and cute, what is the probability of harm coming at you? And I think it increases quite a bit.
yeah,
Because I'm not very flexible. And so, like, if I was handcuffed and they're just wrenching on my arms behind my back, I'm like, you probably dislocate my shoulder. I got broken ribs right now. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I couldn't imagine being thrown to the ground and the wrenching on me because I got like 4 broken ribs right now. It's been a month. They're doing really good. But I was like, behind my shoulder blade. I landed on the front, so they're tender, but the back blew out. Like my ribs are sticking out. I was like, they could throw me in the ground, puncture my lung. It's like, what is the increase of harm? Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that, but social media shows me a lot of these things. And I was like, man, it's crazy. Now, I have been pulled out of a vehicle at gunpoint. I was in North Las Vegas. I was doing foreclosures at the time, pulling a dump trailer. I do not like North Las Vegas police at all. They are like, granted, this was like, back 2009 during that foreclosure boom. So I was locking up houses. I got my dump trailer on me. I think one of my lights was out, and oh my gosh, like I'm like working, and I'm super nice, right? Hands on the wheel, yes sir, yes sir. That's the kind of person I am because I don't want no problems. I don't want no trouble.
Yeah.
And um, I had I'm sure he saw I had a concealed carry permit when he pulled me over. All that stuff will come back, and he probably saw that. And boy, he pulled me out of that vehicle and at gunpoint, and I was like, I have no idea why this is happening, you know, and it was kind of weird. I was like, huh, and I was like, and all over a trailer light not working, like, and so anyway, of course, they looked for everything else that could go wrong with the vehicle, and I think he found something else that was broken, and so I had like two fix-it tickets,
Oh wow.
and I'm like, at gunpoint for two fix-it tickets, right?
Well, I mean, he was probably his hackle probably kicked in
His hack, yeah.
and
Look at this face. Can't trust that. Um, but anyway, I was like, that's weird. Anyway, other places you get to fix a ticket. It's like you fix it, you send them the paperwork, they sign off on it. Like Las Vegas would do that. North Las Vegas, no, I had to go to court and pay a fine and show that I had fixed it. And I was like, man, like every city, every place is different. But I really felt mistreated.
yeah.
But another quick story about North Las Vegas when I was doing foreclosures is I found a deceased person in a house,
I remember this.
and it anyway, I had locked it up, and like 3 weeks later, I got another work order saying, "Hey, go back." I locked up like 5,000 properties, folks. Like I was moving, like 25 houses a day, locking them up. I had crews running. I think I had 30,000 work orders. I personally have locked up about 5,000 houses. So, I mean, I'm a workaholic. Sun up to sun down. I spend all night doing computer work, getting it in. But anyway, um, I'm going through this house. This is pick up some paint, hazards, and whatever chemicals, stuff. They don't want the neighborhood kids getting a hold of stuff and like throwing paint on walls and burning things down, because once paint's out there, it's
Yeah.
flammable and stuff. So, but anyway, so I'm walking down the hall. I go into the house and the door was unlocked. I go, this is strange. I locked this up 3 weeks ago. I walk through the front room and I see a mattress on the ground. I was like, I can't quite, I mean, I'm locking up a lot of houses and, you might have a good recall, but mine was like a little fuzzy. And I was like, that I don't exactly remember that, and walking through by the bedroom, the door's open and I see like a silhouette of something in the closet, no closet doors. And I stop and I like back up and look and I was like, is that like a knee sticking out of the closet? And I was like, hey, who's in there? Like, so I'm like, pie in the door. I slide in the door and I begin to see this person in the closet.
Yeah.
And I back up to the back wall. So, he's in the closet. I'm 10 feet away at on the other wall staring at him. And I'm like, he's faking it. He's got a belt around his neck. He's on his knees. He looks relaxed,
Uh-oh.
and I'm staring and I'm staring. And I was like, no, this can't be right. And then I, had to process it for like 30 seconds. Um, and then I walk up to him and I'm bringing my finger to touch him. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was a young black man, probably about 22 years old.
You didn't even poke him with a stick?
No, I went up to him, like I was like an inch from him, and I was like, I cannot touch this thing. I mean, it's dead. So it's like against my nature to be like, you know. I don't know how long it was been there. It's winter time. If it was summer in Vegas, it
He's
would have
saying
been
it.
it.
The body he's talking
it I could not touch him. Uh,
about.
and then I backed up again. Then I could see the urine stain in his jeans, and I was like, "Oh yeah, he's not with us
Nope.
anymore." So I call 911, and I was like, "Hey, I do foreclosures. I'm at this property. There's a deceased person in the house," and they're like, "Well, please exit the building." And I took a picture of it too. I don't know where that picture is anymore,
I don't want to see it.
um, but anyway. So I go out to the cul-de-sac, and like five squad cars go zipping by, choo choo choo, with their lights blaring. I'm like, I'm right here. The fifth or sixth squad car pulls in the cul-de-sac real fast. He goes, "Hey, there's a shooting down the block. A guy will be with you shortly." And they're like, took off. So the other squad car pulls up like 5 minutes later, and he's totally bummed that he missed the shooting and has to deal with me. And I, he's like, "The action's over here, and yours is already gone." Like has been problem.
I've been waiting for a shootout my whole career.
So then I got to tell him my story. He goes in, checks it out. Then the detectives come in, tell him their story. Another person comes in, tell him story. I'm like, I get. Could you imagine being someone that's been abused and you got to tell your story over and over and over again? It's kind
Record
of
it the first time while you're saying it. And we can just show it each
yeah,
time
yeah.
after
You're
that.
like yeah,
Here you
but
go. Here's what I said to the
it's a
last guy.
similar thing. Like the first person's like, "Well, this is above my pay grade," and then the next person's got to hear it. That's above my pay grade. And they just send it up the chain of command, and it's like, man, you know, maybe they should just record it and play. But they want to ask the questions. They want to see your body language, right? They're all experts
It's
in
true.
whatever they do. And for someone that has been a victim of some horrendous things, that's a tough deal.
Yeah.
And they're going to get specific. Anyway, so they finally clean it up, and I send it in, and then my I'm subcontracted, but then the contractor above me, they're upset that I sent the picture through, because they don't want their staff to see it and share it on social media. And
Oh
like,
wow.
they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." So I'm like, how was I supposed to know? I don't normally run into deceased people, like,
I'm just supposed to lock up the property.
yeah. So anyway, that event haunted me for weeks. Every time I turn the lights off, up in the upper, like, peripheral of my mind, I could see them.
Yeah, like the image of them.
Yeah, the image of them. When the lights went out and I'm walking through the house at night, I'm like, I see it. I'm like, I know that you're not real, but
Yeah.
but you're like indirectly kind of haunting
Yeah,
me.
that's not something I would.
Uh,
That's hard to get over that. I'm sure.
he could have hurt me.
Yeah.
What's the fear? But death is kind of uh, a concept that we process differently, and I'm really cool with like things passing on. Like I'm
Yeah.
as cool as it comes.
You and I both have actually experienced death and know, you know,
Yeah.
there's something past this. Let me quickly interject. You're blowing up on TikTok. Those that are listening on TikTok, we're at 84 viewers right now. Please take and share the stream so we get more viewers on this. Let's break 100. That'd be cool today to break 100 viewers. So if you're Sam, Carl, Shuri, Doo-Wop Mama, all you folks, share your live and invite more friends to watch it. Okay. Back to you, Rick.
Yeah. So yeah, he haunted me for several weeks, and then it began to fade away, and it didn't bother me anymore. But the being who we all react differently. Some people might have not felt a thing about it, you know. And I locking up houses, I had to deal with some angry people. I've had weapons pointed at me. I've had knives pointed at me. I've had guys holding dog and a Rambo knife. Of course, I wouldn't bring a Rambo knife to a an incident like they're not very effective, movie star stuff, but but I was like, but I mean, like those things, it was scary for the moment, but it passed.
Yeah.
But this incident, the guy who couldn't hurt me psychologically got me the most.
Yeah.
And I think just having been there and watched it, and then wonder what his family's thinking, and all the trauma that could be passed on for like others, and it's not something I normally run into. I guess I was surprised with the situation. Um, but yeah, we all deal with stress differently. But the guy who couldn't hurt me, he's the one that caused the stressor, not the real stuff that could have hurt me. The knife, It was scary for the moment, but I was like, "Whew, little adrenaline. Ooh, shake that off, because I'm picking locks and I mean, I try to announce myself, hey, mortgage company, da 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 da, and I go in there, no answer for a few minutes, check the meter. If the meter's not spinning, like, hey, maybe no one's home. I start picking locks, open it up, and there's a guy with a pew pew pointed at me, like, whoa, 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 I'm here at the
Oh,
mortgage company, like, I will let them know it's occupied. And I'm backing off, like, but those didn't, shake my world.
yeah.
So we all react differently to different things. So like, your emotions and your logic don't always align.
Nice. We're at 88 now. Come on, let's keep going, guys.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's a good story. Like, keep
so
going.
anyway, let's jump on to the next topic, right?
So how long did it last like that until you finally were just free of that?
Uh, Probably a couple months where it just wasn't there anymore. The
Man,
first 2 weeks, it was like that image was just right there in the peripheral.
yeah,
Is that the imagination department of your
maybe,
mind?
yeah,
Um, and uh, and after that, I did get my concealed permit in Las Vegas. It was the guy who couldn't hurt me is the one that I was like, yeah, it's time to start carrying.
yeah,
The knife guy, the pew pew guy, I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm good, I'm untouchable, can't touch this, but but yeah, I mean, everybody's stress and logic is different how we react to stuff. Most of you, we've talked about this deep seek, right? They came out with this AI deal, and it's shaking up. It's open source, it's free. I guess you can just grab the code, which I guess is good because then our people can study it because, right, they just put that Stargate thing together. Well, China came out with another one. So the deep seek is like a language model system.
yeah.
So China rolls out another one called Janus Pro 7B. I don't know how good it is, but it's also open source AI, but it's for images. And so they're like, hey, here's another cool one for free. Um, and so that'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it's getting buzz because it's from China and DeepSeek was a big smackdown, and they're like a few days later they roll out another one that might be a competitor. But if we're doing stuff the hard way, we could look into these guys and see what shortcuts there are, or a combination of the two. You know, to jump AI. AI is here to stay, folks.
Yes, it is.
I think it's gonna get way bigger, way, way bigger, a thousandfold.
Thousandfold.
Yeah, bigger. Uh, One step at a time. Every year, every month, more and more will come out.
We're at 90 viewers right now on TikTok.
So,
Getting closer.
the next report thing I want to talk about is the cartels. Right? Trump's like they're deemed a terrorist organization. Then the cartel, I think it's the Sinaloa cartel. They were like, hey, you guys go ahead and start, dispatching lead towards Border Patrol. Normally we had
Yeah.
restraint because that escalates the problem. But now that we're the bad guy, we're going to start returning lead. And so there's been a little bit of border skirmish. And then I think our drones are noticing assets being moved closer to the border on the Mexican side. And so it'll be very interesting how this plays out. Now, when I was in Iraq, um, I was in the Army. There's 10 of us, and we were attached to 300 Marines.
Yeah.
And as we're flying in, the ops guys were like, "Don't set up camp here. This is we call it IDF Valley. This is where all the things go boom from the sky." Because they would be mortaring us every couple of days. They drop mortars on us, and they said they're all landing in this area. And the Marine colonel's like, "Let's set up camp here," and they're like, "What are you doing?" So anyway, so we set up camp in IDF Valley, and it was kind of known amongst us that it, because we're in the line of indirect fire, it's almost like the Marine colonel's like, just let one drop of U.S. blood spill, because then we can open a can of whoop ass. I mean, that was kind of the thought process. Is kind of what we understood as soldiers. We're like, were you just waiting? So because we were dealing with ISIS, and we were like, they come in from Syria as militia. We liked them there. They cross the border, then you're ISIS, and we're like, hey, turn around and go back. Is kind of what we did. But it's like at the same time, you know, they they were looking for a fight. And so I think this kind of applies to the border. We're starting going to blocking that up strong, and heaven forbid if a piece of blood hits the floor.
Yeah.
Because then it's like the rules suddenly changed. We you know, who struck first, right? You know, it's not my fault. He hit me first, mom. You know, it's you know how the game is played. These are high school, these are elementary school games. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so something to watch. Something to watch. Um, yeah, the cartel's been given permission to pop lead at Border Patrol. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. How far that
Walthrow
goes.
commented on your back when you were talking on the people coming into the country and the people leaving. They said they brought too many in anyway. They brought in more than they should have illegals. So that I missed that comment earlier. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Walthrow.
Yeah. So I talked about this yesterday. So the immigration thing is kind of a funny thing. And so I want to shift your perspective from the top. Um, from the top view, government is financed by the reserve, right? By number of people times taxes plus mineral assets, whatever, divided by 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's what President Trump will get. That's what Biden would get. That's what whoever would get. So it's a simple formula, right? That's why we went to school and did algebra. This is real basic. So when you bring in 11 million illegals, open the border, from the top view, they're like, they're paying sales tax. Their children will be
From
future
the top
taxpayers.
view.
They will um, they many of them are documented not in the way you would like,
Yeah.
right? Because they have Mexican documentation. They go in there, and then you're like, hey, they're getting money for housing and all that, which isn't coming from our tax dollars. It's coming from their bond. But that's
Yeah.
another story that probably take me too long to discuss. So they're getting interest off their bond, and that pays them through the UN. And so that part is not paid by us. If they go to the hospital, that part is paid by us, right? So that's super simple. So you bring them in, then the president's like, "Hey, I need 200 million for this place, you know,
Yeah.
Ukraine or Israel, whatever. I need all these billions of dollars to go out." Well, bringing those people in add to the tax base. So when they present it, they're like, "Sure," you know, from the top down. From our perspective on the ground, we're like, "Hey, they're taking our jobs. They're bad people. They're whatever, whatever, whatever." And I think most of what Trump's going after first are the ruffians. There's going to be some innocent people getting wrapped up in this because I got to go through everybody, but they're going after the big bad wolves right now.
Yeah.
Um, if they keep on the current numbers they're at right now, we'll probably be at 100,000 by the end of, in a year. Because
Mm.
if they're grabbing, and I know they're trying to up the numbers, but 11 million people, I doubt they're going to grab everyone and throw them out because they want the numbers
They're
for the
called assets for a reason.
asset. So they'll go after the big bad guys, and then they'll be like, "Hey, if you're going to college, wink, 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 you can, if you have a degree, you can stay." And then they'll go, "If you're going to college, we'll give you 4 years to get your degree." There'll be loopholes and different things that will work itself out.
Yeah.
But there might be 500,000 that should be shaking, but there's I don't see them getting rid of all of them. Now, the only thing that would change my mind on this, and I kind of see this in the writing, is you have um, the concept of consolidating North America.
Yeah.
So if they consolidate North America into one currency or whatever, then from the top view, it doesn't matter if you send them back to Mexico, if that makes sense,
Makes sense.
because they'll be consolidated into one. It won't matter if you send them back to Canada. It won't matter if you send them wherever. And I know there's a lot of others from other countries, but that would be probably all Central America. It wouldn't matter because we'd be under one system. Because there is a concept of consolidating the United States. So or all of North America uh, and I've heard into one currency. And so when they're like, Canada, you should be the 51st state, Greenland, well, we're coming for you, Gulf of America, Panama Canal, tariff, tariff, tariff. Trump is a populist. He's going to use economic warfare. Globalists use real war, and there's more blood, right? So
Yeah.
it, this the globalists have been running things for a long time, and so the shift is unusual for us to see it. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a bumpy road. Like I expect many bumps in the road. I think to think there's not, you know, if you took what the Trumpers are saying and the liberals are saying, right down the middle is probably the truth,
Yep. Yep.
and that's pretty close to probably what it's going to be.
When I explain the show to folks of what you do, and I think that's why it's catching on so much, is that 10,000 foot view from above. You might be left, you might be moderate, you might be right, but I just want to step back and look at everything without any perspective in mind. And hey, this is what I see stepping back. And that's what I think is really growing with people. That's like, you're not saying, I'm not trying to take a side. I'm just saying what I see, and it gives people an opportunity for that free thought, right?
Yeah. Yesterday, I shared the example of the whole thing. The system's like your home.
Yeah.
You know,
We're at 101 viewers right now on
mom and
TikTok.
dad are your. That's like the president, the government. Mom and dad's the government doing their thing, and then you got brothers, sisters, and brothers at the bottom fighting. And you can manipulate your parents and get your way. You can do this and that, but you don't have access to their bank account. Your opinion, as cool as you might think you are, does not matter, left or right. Right? We are the peasants. We are the slaves in the system. Is how I see it. So, regardless of what my political belief is or yours, that doesn't matter so much because the true political parties are globalists and populists,
Yep.
in my opinion. And I'll shout it out, but it falls on deaf ears a lot because people are like, I'm too busy arguing with my brother or sister, you know, over $20 from dad, dad, can I borrow 20 bucks, when who knows how he's spending his money.
Yeah.
We're fighting over macaroni and cheese for dinner. That's Democrats, Republicans, right?
Yeah.
We're fighting over nonsense. But by us fighting confirms that we need parents, right? Confirms we need government to manage us.
Yep.
So we do need to come together. I'm not exactly sure how to find common ground. I know we have it. We all want the same thing.
Yep.
We all want affordable housing, quality food, healthcare. We all want the same thing. But somehow we see different ways of getting there and we fight about it. But somehow we got to figure it out. Because if we stand as one, we need to be managed less, in my opinion. All right. So I wanted to jump into Doge and some of the cuts that are being presented. And some of these are funny. And so that's why I wanted to talk about them. And I'll burn through them really fast. They want to do a cut, $1.4 million a year to bubble wrap popping to determine if it reduces stress. Folks, it does reduce stress. I don't think they need to throw 1.4 million at it every year. There's a sock pairing committee, 1.8 million a year, 1.2 million for a high five committee. I don't know. Can we put it in movies? Can we, it's important. People feel better about self-confidence. I don't know. Ice cream cone studies determining, what it takes to keep them from leaking. Like, I don't know. 1.7 million a year goes into ice cream cone studies. Like, can't you just let the manufacturer make it? And maybe they're just, I don't know. Maybe they don't want corn fructose in there anymore. I don't know. Alarm clock testing, 1.5 million in a year goes to alarm clock testing. I mean, does it mean is that like a committee, an agency that like regulates like, whoa, that alarm is too loud, you know?
The ACA, the alarm clock agency.
Yeah, you probably have to pay them too to manage your alarm clock. I was like, we have cell phones now, nobody cares. But
Yeah.
they're I don't know if they're discovering new tones. Like I don't know what they study, but they're like, let business do business and get rid of it. There's a glitter cleanup task force, $2 million. I don't know what that's about, but glitter's messy.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Bad for the fish, right?
Yeah, probably.
We don't want sparkly poop in the water.
Probably, but they're like, they're already using it. We can't control it. 1.5 million pillow fluffy for hotels. I got
I need my pillows fluffed.
yeah. I fluff your pillow.
You can fluff my pillow anytime, Rick.
I think you would know if your hotel's giving you garbage or not. You pick different places to go.
Yeah.
Um, although in China, hopefully their beds are better now. But when I went to China years and years ago, they would show you these beautiful pictures when you get off the plane or train or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, come to this hotel." And I mean, it looks like picture perfect. And you're like, "Oh yeah, let's go there." And you get there, and I swear you might as well be sleeping on a piece of plywood. Like, the thing looked great until you laid on it. You're like, "Oh my gosh, so stiff." But I, maybe that was cool for them, but for someone that's soft like me,
Yeah.
it's like this is hard. you know. Anyway, 2.1 million for like some elevator music thing. I don't know. 1.3 million for traffic cone counting. National squirrel census, 2.3 million.
What?
Got to count squirrels. Move that over to fish and wildlife. So while they're out counting people catching fish, they might as well just count the squirrels too. Um, 5 million for sandwich standards. I have no idea. Like, make your sandwich. Soap carving competition, something they give 700,000 to soap carving artists for a competition. Left-handed scissors get 250,000. 500,000 for pool noodle buoyancy testing. Eh, I don't know. Is it life-saving thing? A pool noodle? I don't know. 4 million for duck quack echoes.
Okay.
I think all noises at certain sounds echo. Probably how it devastates the environment. Quack, quack, quack. But I mean, so you can see there's waste in that. You could be like, all right, so uh some of this stuff could be adjusted. I wonder how these even became a thing. Like, are these just pork put into bills? Like, how do these things happen? My guess would be it's pork put in a bill, you know. Uh like the turkey, they spend how many millions on, the White House turkey, pardoning. It's like, I don't know. This is a purebred turkey. I mean, it's just how do these things get put in, or do they just be like, hey, this is what we're doing, and then it sticks, it becomes tradition, and we're doing this. I don't know, but I don't see it a bad thing to run through some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Elon Musk is an angel by any means. I'm just saying if he is transparent and stirs the pot, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's transparent.
Yeah.
If there's deals being done in a back room, like the military complex and these corporations, I'm not so cool with that.
Yeah. Be transparent about it.
I want transparency.
It's our money, right?
So if Elon's transparent with this stuff, hopefully he's transparent with some other things, and there's not as many backdoor deals. That's hard to. I don't know. There's always going to be a backdoor deal, but we want less backdoor deals and more transparency. So um, hopefully, at least he's putting it out there in the open, and you can criticize him. So I'm like, at least that's a benefit of it. But
Yeah.
anyway, there's I don't know. There's good and bad with everything. Maybe he's too transparent, and it goes back to the beginning where I said the shock doctrine. There's so much information coming out, everyone's hitting their overload, and all you can do is react. But there's always been business manipulating our government to begin with. So
Yeah.
he's just doing it differently. Take it or leave it. Um,
Going through your feed here, Rick, just managing your TikTok viewers are definitely up there. You're getting lots of likes. Um,
Thank you.
and what I just want to say with on TikTok or YouTube, I got all the feeds open. Your comments mean a lot. Please comment, share the feed, and follow. If anything, that helps support us a lot. Just doing those things, especially on TikTok. The more you share, the more people can see. The more we're getting noticed on TikTok. So um, and also, please, I'm sitting here and I'm watching you guys jump in. So if you have comments, like that Brondo, you said what's up. Brondo says Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we're here. We see your comments, and it helps the algorithm. So keep it coming.
Yeah. So I saw something today, and so I'll just share it with you that makes me think some of the successes I've had in life are based on this. The key to being successful, the key to being rich, you have to take risks.
Yes.
Working for someone else is not a risk.
No.
So, well, maybe a pinch, but
Depends on who you're working for, right?
most of my success I've had was as being on my own. Working for other people, I noticed my bank account got smaller and smaller every month when I had a job. Um, and anyway, as you're out and about life, just remember you got to take a risk and you have to fail. I have failed plenty in my life. I've taken risks and they've failed, and I've done other things and I've had success. So, hopefully you can figure out what your for me, it's not about passion. My passion is to create. And so kind of work is there. Learn to love work, but work's always going to be there. Figure out what works for you. And if the stars align for you, take a risk. Take a risk.
Yes.
I want you to be successful and want you to do that stuff. Everyone's going to quit their job. I heard a bunch of, people quit their job down in California and not didn't want to pick oranges.
That's why orange juice went up.
Yeah, could be. Well, I think they're in fear of the immigration thing. Like, um, and yeah, that's a cost of you know, Trump's mass roundup. There is going to be a cost, whether you agree or disagree with it. There is a cost, and so there's some people that will react and say, even though he's going after the bad guys, I don't want to be heckled. I don't want to be heckled.
Either one.
Either one. Yeah. So I mean, I get it. I get it. So we're going to have to adjust. Um, Trump was talking about banning urban camping. Have you heard about this, Donnie?
I haven't. No, what did he mean by it?
So banning urban camping. So, and I've mentioned this for our community because we have a few hundred homeless people in our community. And in some of the meetings, I had mentioned, why don't we find a piece of land just outside of town, you know, and create a tent city for them, get them off the urban streets and away from businesses, and have a place for them, and provide basic, things for them, where they can, figure stuff out. And I'll explain the consequence of that too, because there's always a negative side. But anyway, so Trump wants to find some cheap land, put tent cities there, have services and rehab and counselors and mental health things, get them what they need, and kind of pressure them to I don't know if you want to call it conform, come back to the matrix. I don't know what you want to call it, like come back to the matrix, rather than step away from it, get them some of the services they need. Not a lot of them are going to want it, but if they're sleeping, yeah, ban urban camping. If they're sleeping in the city, you grab them, you take them out to this place. So here's one of the disadvantages of that. Um, you provide them their basic services, whatnot, great, but some of their tactics for survival is the hustle, you know, begging for money, you know, doing their thing, uh, you know, interacting with each other for trades of substances and so forth. There is an aspect of the hustle, selling your body, all that stuff, the hustle. Uh, so in the Philippines, they did something similar. 5-10 miles outside of town, they built a bunch of little apartments for them. They filled it up with the homeless, and in 3 months, the place was empty.
Yeah.
They were back on the streets living. And I was like, what went wrong there? And it was too far from the hustle. So, as much as the tent city, I think, is a good option, and if you can get them fed and provide services and get them, whatever, one aspect I'm like, that's cool. But another aspect, remember, the ones that don't want it still have to hustle, So I think I have yet to find a solution for it because of a lot of them don't want the help. A lot of them don't want it, don't need it.
Well, I looked up the story, and I was surprised with what I got on NPR because they're usually pretty left leaning. but I'm sure they're scared of getting cut and some budget cuts, so they're moving back to the middle. And they actually addressed what Trump said about the homelessness is that he's working with the states to ban street camping because he wants to address the issue because it's a record high homeless right now.
Yeah.
It could shift billions of dollars in federal funding away from housing and towards drug addiction programs.
Yeah. So in the state of Washington, where I'm at, there's a 9% increase in homelessness a year.
Yeah.
And so we've got a couple hundred of them, 237 of them ish,
Well,
plus or
it all comes
minus.
down to your governor too, because like Inslee has some stuff that makes it really tough for Washington State. We had them everywhere. Remember in our little town?
Yeah.
And what the state says is that they're allowed to sleep wherever they want unless you have a homeless shelter. So Mosaic said, okay, we're going to put up a little homeless shelter. And we did all those little houses you see off of Highway 17. That's it. Some of these little towns, they don't have a choice. You go through there, you see tents everywhere because they can't afford to put up a homeless shelter.
Yeah. So anyway, and yeah, so state of Washington, it's a 9% increase every year. And I was like, when does 250, you know, become 275, become 305? Because you see where I'm going with this? At
I
what
do.
point is it 500? At what point is it 1,000? Um, and then, your town is squeezed. Like, how do you manage that? So
Yeah.
these are interesting concepts. We'll see how they work. Hopefully, it helps some people. But like I say, there's always a cost too. Like some of them need the hustle. They need to. It's like you want to be out of the matrix, but you got to have your like one foot in too, because you're begging for the matrix dollar. You're begging for the matrix food, and so it's like it's hard to be completely like 100% off grid, or be out of the matrix because our system is so like it's got you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're in it, then we all complain about taxes and all that stuff. And we'll jump into that.
Again, folks, we're climbing the numbers on TikTok. I got on mine actually while during the show. This is why I'm here in Richmond. He can't. I'm managing all 5, 6 feeds
Could you
at once.
imagine me reading TikTok and the comments and like on all the platforms,
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm doing right
YouTube,
now.
the Facebook, and all the platforms to do this?
If you look at the TV, you see I got them all up there, every one of them.
Yeah,
YouTube.
I would be like I get lost. It's too much for me.
So my point is, though, I got on mine and I shared the on TikTok. Share the live. That's help support that way, and then follow and like if you feel it. We're cool enough.
So January the January Sixers. Let's talk
This is
about
good.
that.
This is
So
good.
uh, two of them are deceased. So what? Trump pardoned 1,500 January Sixers, and two of them are no longer with us in like a couple days. So it's kind of interesting. So what's his name? Matthew Huddle. Uh,
Really quick, sorry. Your buddy Bling Slayer said glitter is a psyop. Glitter is a product of nuclear bomb research.
oh, see. So maybe it had nothing. The 2 million for the get rid of the glitter task force is more of a psyop money. Is going to black ops. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Bling Slayer. You saying it's going to Black Ops? Go ahead and comment.
Maybe. Code words. Glitter task force. Yeah. I guess task force is probably the clue there.
Right.
It's not a committee.
So what is
It's
the
not.
pillow fluffing task force for?
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's bringing in all the you're on the road and you need some special attention.
Like on the trucker lizards.
Yeah, lot lizards.
Oh man. So anyway, so Matthew Huddle got pulled over, and he's probably begins arguing with the officer. I haven't seen the footage, but imagine if you will till the footage comes out. Officer, I'm innocent. I've been pardoned. Well, it says here you got a misdemeanor, kid. So it escalates, right? Anyway, he gets some lead and is no longer with us.
Ouch.
So that was one of the reasons I talked about increase of harm when you get pulled over. They try to, guy was carrying legally, totally complying, gets shot in the leg. You know, um, Like your chances of harm increase just by a peaceful interaction. So, for a traffic violation, I've been pulled out of my vehicle at gunpoint, and I'm Mister, yes, sir, no, sir. I don't want no problem, sir. You know, I will kiss your butt, sir, because I got work to do. Um, anyway, so now the other one was a woman, just got back to Seattle, and I don't know how they knew it was a 40-year-old man, but the witnesses claim a 40-year-old man walked up to her and threw some lead at her. And so I was like, interesting. There are some, oh, what does this mean? So, one, for the first guy, is it just because you got pardoned, there is still paperwork that needs to process for your misdemeanor to go away? Or did he have a misdemeanor beforehand? So, question one, you know, just because you're pardoned, there might be some paperwork that has to get processed before you are feeling some more liberties. And then the other gal just getting randomly leaded in Seattle. That's are there people frustrated? Did she know too much?
People,
Did
man.
they
It's
not
just
want her
crazy.
testimony? So I don't know what's happening, but it's interesting.
It's
1,500 people get
nuts.
pardoned, and two of them are no longer with us in a couple days. So scratch your head. What's going on?
I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I don't know if there's a rabbit hole there or not, or I don't know. It's crazy. Um, so one thing that I started research, do your own research, folks, right? I hate that phrase because, like, at some point you just hit the wall, you get stuck. Where do you find truth? You just can't. But anyway, I was doing my own research on this golden age because Trump's been saying, like, welcome to the golden age. This is the golden age. And I was like, what does he mean by that? Where are we going as a society? Can he make it work? Can he pull it off? So that's kind of like where I'm at with it. Because, like, whether you love Trump or you hate him, can he pull off what he says he's going to pull off? Because he is, like I say, he's a populist. He's doing economic warfare, and there's moving parts in other countries and all this stuff going on. Can he pull off the golden age that he envisions? Whether you agree or disagree with him, can he pull it off? So this is kind of the couple things that popped out for me as I was looking at it. So one part of the golden age, or the process of transition to the golden age,
Yeah.
is corruption exposed. Some of that is going to be with the information that's being released. Many of our heroes have skeletons in the closet. Many of our world leaders, may have skeletons in their closet, and things are going to get exposed, and the truth will come out, and you're like, oh, we've been lied to. And now I get, due to national security, right? Due to financial security, security is financial, everything's finance, money. Due to money reasons, they don't tell us a lot. And legally, they're bound not to tell you what's going on because of security rules. Um, it's just, even if it's innocent information, you aren't allowed to share, security info with the general public. So they could pull the national security thing out all day long, and it could be like, my brother's name is Tommy, but they can't share that with you because of security rules. So with that, right, we're learning that we've been lied to. Now, also, some of the secrecy stuff. I think it's like, you want a president to be. So here's the rabbit hole, right? You want a president to be how old to run for office? What's the age for office? 30, 35,
35.
right? Average person lives to 70. Then they have to hold their secrets till they're for 35 years, right? All secrets need to be held for 35 years. And so if you're over 35 and you got to hold a secret till you're 35, basically you're dead and can't share. So there's a reason for the minimum age to be president is 35. 35 years of secrets puts you at 70. You're on your deathbed. And most likely you're older, like President Trump will never be Biden. They'll never be old enough to spill any secrets because they'll be gagged for 35 years and then they're dead. They're gone. So little tricks to the game, folks. Anyway, so
Robin Weber, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Illogic, thank you for sharing. Please on your TikTok, share. Thank you.
so the other thing that I've noticed is right now we live in a place that's what controlled. We got financial control, health control, government control. A lot of things are controlled, and so what I think is meant by the golden age is we're going to transition to the golden age, what I would consider 5D. And so this is where the internet, and we've talked about this on the show, I guess frequently with AI and all this stuff. So we're going to quantum internet, and then you have AI, super AI, quantum financial system, and we will be tax free. Like that to me is the end goal of the golden age, if you will. Um, I don't know if other people see that. So that's what I think Trump's trying to accomplish, right? You're going to have this amazing internet, quantum internet. AI is going to be like right on top of it, manage your life beautifully, tell you what to invest in, when to pull, you know, don't work, travel, all this wonderful stuff AI is doing, where the big deals are, quantum financial system, right? They're talking about some type of, because we're all going to be unemployed, right? With
Yeah.
AI, and I think here soon 40%. And so they got to come out with some type of payment system, which they call one theory is universal basic income. They're testing.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody gets some type of social security payment, and I don't know how it works. If you work, you still get it, or But anyway, everyone's going to receive a living wage.
They're also talking about. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sarah, Nasara.
Sarah Jasara.
Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah, and that gets a little deeper into conspiracy stuff, so I won't touch upon that. But that is like a debt forgiveness deal.
Yeah. Well, in order to be tax free, you got to deal with the debt too.
So there's a couple things that'll probably roll out this year, and I'm just saying this because my source mentioned it to me. That's redheaded stepchild of the elite that walks dogs for these people.
Yeah.
No, he works in the financial part of them. But anyway, uh, I was told. I'm losing my train of thought here.
Sorry, sir.
Do-do-do.
We were talking about a debt-free golden age.
Yeah. So I was told there's going to be some things happening here soon. So I was told that Swift will buy Ripple in the next 60 days. So the 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 crypto people are like, no, it's independent. It's going to replace Swift. Consider for a moment, these financial guys have been running the country for 100 some odd years. Do you think they're just going to roll over and just let some digital thing happen and take it? Consider that they created the digital thing and they will absorb it and it'll merge together. So I was told that uh, Swift will purchase, right? They're owned by the Fed. They will write a check for whatever it's worth and take Ripple. They don't care about XRP and the tokens and all that because if they own Ripple, they control all that. They will also take over the exchanges as well.
So it's important to have a cold wallet or hard wallet, whatever you want to call it, if you're into crypto, right?
Yes, that is important, but also recognize that if they control it, but basically we have our banking structure now. It's going to be digital, and they're going to bring it in
if
they control it.
Sorry,
but I hear myself repeating. We have our banking structure now.
Stop. There it is. All right, there it is.
So and then you also have super AI coming. Quantum financial system is 4 years out, folks. 4 years out. People think it's going to happen next. They have to do these baby steps. So they got to get crypto brought into the financial system. And there's parts of the 5D internet happening now, but they haven't swapped it to like the full 5D deal. But to see it integrate, I think super AI needs the quantum internet, right?
Yes.
So so they've got to bring a couple steps in. Also, it would shock the system like crazy if they did it all in one shot, because they could bring us in a little step at a time. So bringing in crypto and cross-border payments, consolidating countries onto one currency. Um, and so these are things I'm being told, right? North America will be on one currency, by the end of the year. And I was like, how are they going to do that? Do they care if Canada keeps its independence and they don't care because it's on the dollar, or they don't care because it's on crypto? Like, so what's the game plan? They can keep their independence and all transactions will be settled with the Reserve Bank, is kind of my understanding. So they don't care what the country rules are. They just care how the money flows. Security, everything is financial. Um, let's see, super AI, quantum financial system. Um, yeah, that's supposed to be 4 years out. And then living tax free. One aspect of this universal basic income concepts that we've talked about is that your payment will be given to you with like possibly a reverse interest. So let's say you get 5,000 a month. At the end of the month, if you didn't spend it, you saved it, right? You're like, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a car. You saved it. At the end of that month, it could be 4,900, then 4,800, 4,700 if you didn't touch it. So it's a reverse interest burning, almost like some of the crypto, right? When you trade it, it burns. So they want to encourage you to use it or lose it mentality. Go, here's your basic living income. You can save it, but there's a burn rate on it. We want you to use it because you're getting it every month. No need to worry. Daddy will take care of you. So that is a concept that's out there with the universal basic income. I think Elon Musk said, like, you'll have so much money, you won't even know how to spend it. And so I think, anyway, I don't know how they're going to determine what each person's is worth. Are they going to base it off your job, whatever, when it starts off? I don't know if we'll all be equal in payment. That would be cool if everyone's just equal, but um, they're like, oh, you're a stay-at-home person, you get 3,000. Oh, you work, you get 5,000. Oh, you're a doctor, you get 10. Like, I don't know. Um, so a couple things that I was told were going to be rolling out, and this stuff's crazy to me. I was like, whoa, this would be wild. One of them is artificial intelligence is going into the courtroom. And I was like, how's that going to happen? And he was like, well, we have judges that are biased, right? We have judges that are corrupt. We have judges that, whatever, donating to a different party, whatever. And they're like, look at the Trump case, right? You know, a misdemeanor turned into a bunch of felonies, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so so you have like an abuse of power, unbiased thing. Now, what happens when your attorney or the other guy's attorney, let's do that way. So you're sitting in court and your attorney's like a normal Joe. And then the other attorney, he's got the Google glasses on. And as your attorney's defending you, the other attorney's like, I object. And they're like, on what grounds? And you're like, case da 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 da, 1562, 1982, McDonald's hamburger versus Burger King, right? And you're like, and so the judge is like, oh my gosh, I got to figure what that means. Um, but the AI goggles are busy telling this guy because its hand and tentacles are all deep into the law books and the internet. And it's just how do you compete with an attorney that's just he doesn't have to prepare. He just shows up and the goggles are like, hey, say this. Objection. Objection. Case study, da da da. And the judge is like, I can't even, manage this courtroom anymore. And then you have judges that are biased. And then the AI is like, well, I can be your judge. I got my hands in the books and I'm unbiased. And then let's say, you're a black man and you're like,
I'm a black
I
man.
will take the AI judge any day over some white judge
Yeah.
any day of the week, you know. And what happens if suddenly justice is a little cleaner? like anyway. So things are supposed to happen in the courtroom this year to expose some of the problems that we have, and then AI that that AI judge could see more cases. Like it could manage probably a million cases all at the same time.
Yes.
Where we have one judge can barely handle 10, one case, 10 cases in a day. AI is like, I can handle a million of them. Bring it at me. People coming in. He's like, in fact, I can go 24/7, and you don't need a clerk and you don't need, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I can just handle it. And if it's fair and unbiased, you'd be like, hey, so these are things that are potentially going to be entering the courtroom, and I don't know if it's going to begin with the Google glasses or Trump upset about his court case. You
Yeah.
know, going from a simple charge to you know from misdemeanor to felonies. But anyway, things to have your eyes open for. I was told these things are coming. In terms of tax free and adjusting to this golden age.
One thing I got to interject this really quick is that I don't understand people, Rick, that you could tell them everything they need to do to prepare, but why do they still just sit on their hands? Like 95% of people are like, oh, well, we'll see.
Well, I think it comes back to, remember I said shock and awe, the shock doctrine.
Yeah.
Some of the information is so shocking. You have information overload. It's not in your reality at the moment. And so it they're going to be like, that's crazy, that's not going to happen, or that's not going to happen. But hurricanes do come. North Carolina deals with this, dealing with California fires are dealing with, they're dealing with, Hawaii's dealing with, they're dealing with, and everything in between. We know stuff happens, and it costs money. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you really don't have the capacity to be like, I need to buy extra food. You might be like, maybe I could buy a bag of rice because that's $20,
Yeah, no,
big
that's
bag
a
of
lot.
rice, and that'll get me by. But then I'm like, when you go down the rabbit hole of preparedness, it's expensive
It is.
because you're like, I need
That's
water purification, I need pews, I need food, I need this, I need vests and
I think
gear.
I'm
And
prepared for just about everything possible. Um,
is that because you own Milwaukee?
no, but I do have a lot of Milwaukee.
It's like,
But check this out. I was of the same mindset. I had a friend of mine that was like, he's like, look, Donnie, I'm not a survivalist. I'm not a doomsday prepper. He said, but this was in 2007. No, 2017. And 2016, there was just a huge ice freeze in Spokane, and stores were shut down for a week at some points. He said, look what happened last winter in Spokane. What are you going to do if that happens to us here? How are you going to provide for your kids? And so what I did strategically since 2017, started slowly buying stuff that I need in case something goes wrong. I'm not, if power goes out, I have generators. You don't have to buy it all now, but one of the most important things to do is actually just start buying something. Get a case of, I have three of those. Just kidding. I mean, I don't maybe want to tell people that. I have some of those emergency food kits, and if something happens, what are you going to do? Do you love your kids enough to prepare for the worst? I mean, do you have extra blankets at least? I think that's in the preparedness of like food crisis or war. But what about an economic crisis? What are you going to do when your dollar is worthless? And the things that Rick is saying is it's really, I would say, take heed because he's not the first person to have said this. And I love your mindset and your perspective is that, it's this stuff is happening whether we like it or not. What are you going to do about it?
yeah, it's happening. And it,
Sorry for the rant. Sorry for the rant.
it's very hard to prepare for every scenario. And I
Yes.
get it's overwhelming.
You
And
don't have to do it all at once, though.
yeah, but there's some people that'll be like, when it happens, I'll deal with it. And there's that too. And there's some people that are like, well, I have some lead and some pews, and I will take whatever I need. Well,
Other people have lead and pew pews.
oh yeah, yeah,
So maybe you won't.
yeah. It's like you think you're better than some of the other people, but you also have to be willing to walk away from all of it.
Yep.
So I mean, it's this like crazy, crazy thing. Uh, to put a plan
Okay. I like the
together.
last thing you said there is that we're too attached to our stuff. Really, if you think about it, if you had to give away all your stuff and head for the hills, how
Yes,
devastated would you be?
I can do it, but I'm not sentimental that
Yes,
way.
same.
I
Even
can
my
walk
Milwaukee,
away.
I do would rather get a little trailer and put it in. If I had to go, it's just a tool. Like preserving my life and and my kids' life is
It's
way
just
more
your
important.
children. Just walk away. I'm kidding.
A lot of dads have done that. A lot of moms have done that. But
Too soon. I probably lost half the audience there. Like,
no, there's. But seriously, listen to this, folks. Like I know you're listening. We're 158 viewers right now on TikTok. What are your thoughts, Josie Brown, Illogic, and you folks? And I got to throw one more in here because you'll start hearing it
we
from other
got Donnie
businesses.
excited.
Um, if you need inexpensive auto repair but good work done, call Brothers Automotive, 761-9744. Brothers Automotive can do everything bumper to bumper inside your car for most vehicles. There are some things that are just a little over their head, and they'll refer you to someone that can do it. But if you need a job done, you want it done right, and you don't want to pay an arm and a leg, call Brothers Automotive, 761-9744.
He's fixed my brakes, so
Yeah,
they work.
now, Logic just came and said too. Then he's the guy, Brothers Automotive. He just said on here, and he has a lot of stuff too. He has 3 bays worth of stuff. He said if I could let it all go if I had to.
Yeah.
Where's everybody else at on that?
Yeah, you got to be willing to walk away. And that concept came to me from a mercenary. And it was sometimes we spend so much effort defending your property when and a home is very difficult to defend.
Yes.
And so you have to be able to walk away. And then they can go into your box and then you can corner them. It's like uh anyway. And if I want in your home, there's not much you can do to stop me. I mean, in a survival situation, if I want in your home and you're not complying or you start whacking my people, then we'll just burn you out. And you're like, how do I stop that? It's like, or make an example of you. Like when you get to the devious mind, there's not a lot of options like for you. Hopefully, we never go that way, and everything is lollipops and rainbows and Skittles being defecated. You know, but like
Glitter.
glitter, glitter coming from the sky, the psyop glitter. Like, so I guess we need to keep that 2 million. Let me call Elon. Say we got to keep the 2 million glitter because that's has to do with
Nuclear bomb research.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bling Slayer, for bringing that to my attention.
But anyway, yeah, it's tough. It's so tough to be prepared for every little thing, and you're going to make mistakes when you do it. You're going to be like, I'm gonna buy food, and then your food goes bad. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this, and it's like
Well, it's true. Like I have water supply, and I cycle through it because even water will go stale.
yeah,
Mine's filtered and covered. And my mom came over when I was, when the cancer was the worst, and she was like, "Hey, I was drinking water. You noticed I went through all 7 of your 5-gallon containers. Like, Mom, I was saving that for an emergency, but you made me think. I need to use it more, so it's not just sitting around and cycle through it because you
yeah,
can't let food sit there. You can't let water sit there. You got to look at use by dates, all that stuff.
yeah. Not these people listening go, how do we go from politics to survival? I'll give you one of the tips I
Where are
learned.
they saying that at?
No, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Oh,
I'm like, we go through all this stuff. Now we're into survival. I'm like,
I don't see that. And well, speak of survival, you didn't touch on the Mexican cartel ordered to fire upon the border patrol.
and we talked about that.
We talked a little, we brushed on it, but
Yeah.
you didn't talk about like the first. What I was like earlier, you said the
It's not the first time lead has been moved back and forth on the border.
true.
It's interesting that the order, what we're the info we're gathering is that the cartel's like, yeah, you can send lead. Before we tried to keep the peace,
Yeah,
why we smuggled in our dirty deeds, but now it's like, well, if we're terrorists, then we'll give you a show. If you're coming for us, we're going to start coming for you. It's like, um, so things are happening. So my tip in terms of survival is pool shock. If you buy a bag of pool shock, it pretty much should last quite a long time.
and that's chlorine.
Chlorine.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Put one little granule of chlorine in a quart jar,
Yeah,
you have basically Clorox,
Oh wow,
and you can
clean.
take a cup full of that and dump it in water. Basically, you can
Uh,
purify
Yeah, you can wash your
thousands and
clothes.
thousands of gallons
Yeah.
of water.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So
Okay.
anyway, water's important. Pool shock and figure it out. Now, don't put it by any metals because it will oxidize and corrode metals. But I learned that from a chemist.
Wait, but if it's in the packaging, it can be bite metals just when you take it out of the
No,
packaging.
it'll still air out because I do have some
So
things
I keep
that are
my
rusted.
pool shock in my laundry room on the metal shelf above the.
That
Uh,
might be open enough.
okay,
Um,
because I have
but
a pool in my backyard, an above ground pool that I use
yeah,
it for.
so if it's out in the open, you should be fine. But if you stick it in like a plastic bin and you've got,
Oh,
other
I see. Yeah,
your
canned
survival
foods and all that.
your stainless steel skillet pan and all this other stuff you want that weighs 1,000,000 pounds you're trying to put with it, it will oxidize and just rust the snot out of them.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
want to keep it, yeah, open air and
Oh, okay. That makes so
away from
the
metal.
shock won't rust.
Even in the plastic bag, it'll breathe out
Wow. Okay.
something. Um,
I didn't know that, but
Ask
that's
me how
smart.
I know. No.
But I have the iodine pills.
Yeah.
Those will do what 5 gallons each, one pill.
You got the little smart straws and all that, but
Yep, yep.
if you get the food grade hydrogen peroxide, I don't know if it's 30% or better, whatever it is, you can put that back in the water and it'll take the chlorine out. It neutralizes it. But that is, I learned that from a chemist guy. He was like, "Oh, I take this camping," and I was like, "But the there are, I mean, you're dealing with some chemical stuff that's could be in the wrong hands, could be a little harmful, right? Acid, right? And then you got
Yeah,
hydrogen peroxide. It'll chemically burn your fingers if you play with that too much. So, I mean, pick your poison, but at the same time, it is something that can purify thousands and thousands of gallons of water, right?
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Do I want to know how you know?
America.
I just got this question on Hard Wallet. I'm going to answer it live because I think more people ask it. I always get a link asking, "Will this work?" What's really important when you're looking at a cold wallet or a hard wallet, you need to make sure that it's compatible with the crypto that you own and the NFTs that you may have, because not all of them are completely compatible. There's one that I have. It's by Decent. It's a little bit more. I think you ordered the same one.
I got the Arculus one.
Okay, but it's you want to have some sort of biometric that's important on there, and but the most important is make sure it's compatible with the coins you have. So, Illogic, you asked that. A few other folks have asked that. Um, Read through the details on it and make sure it matches up with what you're investing in. Because if it doesn't match up with what you own, it won't serve any purpose for you at all.
So surviving the golden age. So it's funny that you have to survive it, right?
Yeah,
But like I say, Trump is a populist, economic warfare rather than bloodshed. That's his game. So expect some disruptions in the system as things come up and down. If you see Trump getting a green light on stuff, like, why is no one bugging him on that? This is crazy. It's because it fits the globalist agenda as well, which is kind of funny
you
thing.
got to keep some other people happy too.
So consolidating North America, I believe, satisfies both agendas. And so you're not going to get a lot of backlash on that because if the globalists can retake control, they're like, we wanted that anyway. So, um, but then if he's getting hurt, really hackled, heckled,
Heckled
um, then
and hackled.
then the globalists aren't happy with that. So us Democrat Republicans or the peasants at the bottom asking mom and dad for 20 bucks. Um, they just came out with the drones. I think and they said the drones in New Jersey were authorized by the FAA to do research and hobbyists, not the enemy. But I have one question though. Were they doing research on the orbs?
Yeah, you did ask that earlier. That's
I was like, they're just doing research on these flashy, glowy things. So, thanks for being somewhat transparent. I'm like, is that only half true? Please explain what they are researching. Then you could be a little more transparent with us. But anyway, uh, some people are grateful that it is more transparent than what we were getting before. But after much research, the drones are researching. There's your side, folks. There's your side. So, but yeah, we got a lot of bumps in the road coming, folks. I think Donald Trump has $8 trillion of bonds to refinance,
Yeah.
which is a 10-year note, that's coming due. I don't know if that's going to be a slam dunk refinance or not. I don't know how that affects us little people, but
And will they make it through all the appointments too? There's still lots of fights going on there.
oh, there'll always be fights there going on. I'm sure at some point they have to, give up or let go. Uh, Again, you have the globalists and populists battling it out, and neither one is going down without a fight. So it's interesting times, folks. What other thing? I think financially we're not in very good shape, but I think we're going to see more and more news come out of some financial
Yeah.
problems. One of which I think is just mortgages in general. There is some little. There was a fake court case study that they did that demortgages had some issues, and I think there was another one that was like a Supreme Court case that was like if uh because you got like the reserve takes the bond, creates money, gives it to the bank then takes it and lends it to you. And so uh if the bank doesn't have the note, they're saying like, hey, you can go after that and get your house. And I was like, well, I'm sure that's going to be a nightmare for most people to try to say, hey, it's my bond, my house. You lent me my own stuff, or you didn't have the money to lend me. You had to borrow it from the reserve for 4 point something percent and then lend it to me for some 2.5%. Um, but there's supposed to be some mortgage juice coming out. So that is coming up in the future. So pay attention to that.
Yes.
AI in the courtrooms and some mortgage banking issues and some other stuff coming down. And it,
Really good show today, man. I
it, it,
covered so
it may
much.
shock the system, but some of these are things I'm being told from, you know, my secret squirrel source. I wish I could come up with them on my own authentically, but I just have to regurgitate the cool news to you. So,
We had 167 solid viewers almost the entire time on TikTok.
all right, folks,
Lots and lots of likes.
we're gonna wrap this up. And
Same time tomorrow, 11 a.m., folks.
we'll have to do a conspiracy one. Uh,
That'll be fun. I'm working on gathering some folks for that.
Bling Sling was like, "Let's do a conspiracy show," and I was like, "Hey, let's do it. We talk crazy one day and see how far down the rabbit holes we can go." So,
Be prepared for that.
yeah,
Get prepared for being prepared to be prepared.
be prepared. It's difficult to prepare for every situation, folks, but
Yeah.
just be mindful. And if you feel that gut nudge, maybe do something with it.
That's a hackle, by the way, it's called.
The gut nudge is a hackle when your hair stands up on your neck.
Yeah.
Razorback. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. This is Rick, your host. I'm signing out.
Great show.